Alright, so the first page is just a couple of definitions, and then we have a diagram to see what those definitions mean. A circle, I think we all know what that is, but technical term definition for it, a set of points that are the same distance from a point in the center. And then your circumference is the distance around the whole circle, so the outside of the circle. Your diameter is the distance passing through the circle that meets on both ends of the circle. And then your radius is half of that. So it's starting at the center and it's going to any other point on that circle. Okay. So looking at this picture, first off, your center is M, so you would say that this is circle M. You name the circles by whatever the center point is. Line segment AMB is the diameter. So AMB is this line right here. That's your diameter. It's passing through the center and it's touching on both ends of the circle. Okay. It does not have to be right there. It can be anywhere on the circle as long as it's going through the center. Okay. Your line segment MC is your radius. So right here is a radius. It's starting at the center and it's touching a point on the circle. Could line segment MB also be a radius? Yeah. And then also MA could be a radius. So your radius is basically half of your diameter. Okay. So we've got two formulas down there at the bottom that we can use. If you know your diameter, you can find the radius, and vice versa. If you know the radius, you can find the diameter. So diameter is going to be 2 times the radius, and then your radius is going to be the diameter divided by 2. Diameter is large, so if you're finding the radius from the diameter, you're taking the large piece and you're finding the smaller piece. So if you multiply, is that going to give you anything smaller? No, multiplying will make you larger. So it makes sense that the diameter is going to be diameter you're finding by multiplying the smaller piece. If you're finding your radius, that's the smaller piece, and you're finding the larger piece. So you would be dividing. Okay. All right. Up there at the top, you have your definitions again, and you have your formulas. So anytime you see R, remember that stands for radius. Anytime you see D, that stands for your diameter. Example 1, it says that the diameter of a circle is 14 inches. Find the radius. So I have a picture right here. This diameter is going through the center and touching both ends. So that's your D. Because you know the D, you're going to use the formula R equals something that has a D in it. So R equals D over 2. So then you're just plugging in 14 for D, and you find that the radius is 7 inches. Okay. If you're given the radius, so in this case, this 8 foot is my radius, that's my R, that means I want to find D. So you're using D equals 2 times R. And then you're just plugging in 8 for R. So your diameter is 16 feet. Alright, so A through D, we're finding whatever they didn't give me. So in A, they gave me the diameter. So that means I want to find the radius. Okay. So what is my formula for radius? R equals what? D divided by 2. Okay. D is what they gave me, so I'm going to plug in 23. So 23 divided by 2, what is your diameter? Thank you. And then it's measured in centimeters, so that means that your radius is 11.5 centimeters. Questions? Okay. B, they gave me the radius is 3, so that means I want to find the diameter. So what is that? D equals what? 2 times R. And then R is 3, so that means I have 2 times 3, which is 6. So your diameter is 6 inches. Okay, in C, they gave me the diameter, so that means I'm finding the radius. So R equals D divided by 2. D was 16. So what's 16 divided by 2? 8. So your radius is 8 yards. And then in D, they gave me the radius, so what do I need to find? You need to find the diameter, so D equals 2R. R is 5.2, so you're multiplying that by 2, and what do you get? 10.4. So your diameter in this case is just 10.4 because they did not give you any units. Questions on finding the radius or the diameter? We good? Okay, so we're going to use what we know about diameters and radius to find the circumference. So flip over. So remember, the circumference is the distance around the circle. Okay, you can find that by multiplying pi times the diameter, or pi times twice its radius. Okay. So that symbol right there is called pi. So you have two different formulas for circumference. If you know what the diameter is, you want to use C equals pi times D. But if you know what the radius is, you want to use C equals 2 pi R. Okay. If you know what the diameter is, there's not a D in this formula to use. So if you're given D, you're using the formula that has a D in it. If you're given R, you're using the one that has an R in it. Okay. So a little bit about pi. It's a Greek letter. The value of pi is 3.1415926, on and on and on. So it repeats forever, but it goes on forever, but it never repeats itself. So obviously we are always going to approximate it, and we normally just use 3.14. Because we are approximating, anytime you're finding circumference, that means that it's never going to be an exact value. So when you find the circumference, you're going to use this approximation symbol right there. It's like an equal sign, but it's a squiggly equal sign. Okay. So it means that it is approximately whatever number you find. Okay. Another approximation that sometimes people use, not very often, but in this packet they're going to use it a few times. You can use 22/7. Unless it specifies which one to use, you can choose. I normally like to use a decimal because I like decimals better than fractions. But it's whatever your preference is. You will still get the same answer. Alright, so example 3 is finding the circumference. They tell me that the radius is 21. So I know what R is, so that means I want to use the formula that's 2 pi R. They used 22/7 for pi, so they just did 2 times 22/7 times the radius, which was 21. So the circumference was about 132 inches. Okay. In circle E and F, it tells us specifically to use 22/7, so we have to use that one. What piece of information do I know about circle E? You have the diameter, right? That 70 inches is your diameter because it's passing through the center and it's going all the way through the circle. So if I know what the diameter is and I'm trying to find the circumference, what formula do I want to use? C equals pi d. we're starting to evaluate it, so we're going to switch to that squiggly equal sign. Pi, they told us to use 22 over 7. So I have 22 over 7 times d, which we said was 70. So approximately, what is my circumference? What is it? 220 inches. Questions on that? Okay, what do I know about circle F? We know that the radius is 7/8 of a foot. So if I know what my r is, which formula do I want to use for circumference? Okay, 2 pi r. So my 2 I'm going to bring down. I have to use 22 over 7 for pi. And then my radius, they said, was 7/8. So when you multiply all three of those numbers together, somebody want to tell me what you get? 5.5? Yeah. Does it matter if you write this as a fraction or a decimal? No. What would it be as a decimal? 5.5. Questions on that? So if you're given radius, use the one that has r in it. If you're given the diameter, use the formula that has the d in it. All right, number 4 is just another example that they've given. Your diameter is 23, so they're using pi times d. They're using 3.14, which is what I normally use. So their circumference is 72.2 feet. G, it says a circular fence is being placed to surround a tree. The diameter of the fence is 4 feet. How much fencing is used? Use 3.14 for pi, and then round to the nearest tenth if you need to. Okay. So which formula do I want to use here? C equals pi d. They specifically told me to use 3.14 for pi. So I have 3.14 times the diameter, which was what? 4. So what is your circumference? 12.56. How do you round that to the nearest tenth? Good, 12.6. Any questions? Okay, I want y'all to do 1 through 3 on your own right now, and then we will go over them. So everybody's doing 1 through 3. That's going back to your radius and your diameter. So the first formulas that we used, you are not finding the circumference. So everybody's doing 1, 2, and 3. Enter. 1, 2, and 3. You done? Still working? Okay, what'd you get for number 1? You're finding the radius. So radius is the diameter divided by 2. So that should be 1.5. Number 2, you're given the radius. So what are you finding? The diameter. So diameter is 2 times the radius. So what is that? 28 feet. Good. And then number 3, you're finding the what? Radius. So that's half of 20. So that would be 10. Okay. Good on those questions? Okay. 4 and 5, you're finding the circumference. So what do you know about number 4? You're given the diameter, right? So if I want to find the circumference, I need to use C equals pi times D. I'm going to use 3.14. So I've got 3.14 times 15. So what is your diameter? Your circumference. 47.1 meters. Good, Hudson. What do you know about number 5? You know that the radius is 7. So which formula should I use? C equals 2 pi r. So I've got 2 times 3.14 times 7. What do you get? 43.96. How does that round to the nearest tenth? The 44, right? The 6 tells the 9 to go up. 9 goes up to 10, so you carry your 1 over. So that should be 44. Any questions? Not too bad. The main thing is to read the problem and figure out, okay, what am I finding? Am I finding the diameter, or the radius, or the circumference? Because you've got all 3 of those different formulas. So make sure you're using the correct one. We good? All right, the rest of this is not number 6. You don't have to do this one. But the rest of that is what you are working on. You should be able to get a good bit of it done in class. It's not too bad. But make sure you are showing your work. Carson. Yes. I'm fine with that, as long as you're working. Yes. No, it's 1 through 22. Oh, I changed the wrong one today. I changed the bottom one. Yeah.